Hi, Scorpio. I hope you guys are doing great today. Welcome to your general messages for the beginning of December. So this reading obviously is going to cover this total solar eclipse, which is happening in Sagittarius on December 4th. I did an entire really long video on that where I do timestamp and I chapter it out, so you don't have to stick around for the whole thing, but check it out if you want more information on the solar eclipse, my take anyway, and how it could be impacting each of the signs. So check that out. But I'll be weaving in information having to do with that throughout this reading as well. So we're going to start with getting a lay of the land with the oracles, and we'll go into general full spread where I'll connect it to different parts of life, you know, relationship, career, whatever, family stuff. And then I'll pull a separate spread for those in a complicated relationship. And then I'll pull one for those of you who are in separation, and then those for you who are single, right? Little short spreads there. Okay. And as always, I will timestamp below for your convenience. Okay. So we have cycles, wild, inner child. So as I'm pulling these, why don't we just talk about the Sagittarius full solar eclipse that's happening in your second house? It's really let's understand first what the second house means, because a lot of times we say second house, it means money. It is money. It's money that you make from the work that you do, but it's so much more than that, right? The second house has to do with, you know, your innate wealth as well. Like, how do you feel about yourself, your sense of self-esteem, right? It has to do with any sort of resources or attributes, and not only money, but other things that you own, things that you value, or any other attributes, which ends up giving you a sense of value or worth, right? Second house is also covers what constitutes security for you. It also covers things to which you attach yourself to, what you possess or hope to possess in your life. You know, yeah, I mean, besides money in the material world, obviously, right? Your relationship and your attitude to those things are in the second house, but it's also, again, about what you value, what that desire nature that you have. What do you want to possess, right? That idea as well. So that's where there's needing to be some sort of release. Second house is also your work ethic and your attitude towards work. Something needs to be released there. Something needs to be sacrificed because it's Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the south node of the moon until the middle of January, until he passes the torch to you, Scorpio. Then you guys are going to be the south node of the moon. And then for 18 months, you're going to have to work on releasing something in your sense of self. I'm going to be doing a whole video on that. So I don't want you to get too caught up in that, but it's enough to understand right now that where your Scorpio energy is hanging with the Sagittarius energy, because you are one sign. So if we put Sagittarius in the first house, you're the next house over. That's why this energy I'm saying is hitting, especially Scorpio risings in the second house. Okay, so if we put Sagittarius energy in the first house, because that's where we're having the solar eclipse, you're in the next house, second house. I hope that makes sense to you. So that's where you're needing to release how you've been viewing work, how you've been viewing money that you make from the work that you do, how you've been viewing yourself as viewing what it is that you do for money, how you show up in that area. Again, all that matters to you, but in the same way, it doesn't have to only do with money. It's what do you possess or hope to possess. And guys, that could even come down to people, because it sits opposite that eighth house, which is also a relationship house, how you show up in relationship as a we, blending resources, blending intimacy, blending communication, right? And really trying to release what matters to you in this area, because it does seem like we're not being asked to release anything that's good for us. There might be some sort of mindset that's going on, having in that second house, having everything to do with one of the many things that I just mentioned, that is just not serving you. It's just not serving you, you know? You know, really asking yourself too, like having to do with work, are you really exploring and utilizing your inner talents and your inner gifts? You know, what is that inner wealth that you possess inside of you that you could bring out to the world, and really recognizing that. And there are many, many reasons why we keep ourselves small in that area. It could be vulnerability and fear, or being told the wrong thing. But you know what, second house, it could also be very ancestral. It's very interesting, the second house energy, what can end up doing, because we carry these ancestral truths surrounding money and capabilities and what we can and can't do in our second house energy. It's like, you know, it has to do with our ancestors in our early environment. Even if we were in an early environment that was supportive, if it's in our energy from the past, from a past life, from our spiritual ancestors, it's very difficult to mitigate that. That's where we could feel like there's no way I would ever be able to be that successful. There's no way. Yet some people, for some reason, are all about it. And it almost comes to them like breathing, right? And why is that for some people and not for others, right? So there's got to be this release of what the story that you tell yourself about yourself when it comes to the money that you make from the work that you do. And also there's got to be this release about what you feel like you have to hold on to and what you have to have, not only regarding you, but also regarding other people as well. Business connections have to be a certain way. Relationships have to be a certain way. Aries, fifth house. Yes. So, I mean, look, right? We have this idea of Emperor energy is very, I want what I want when I want it. Fifth house has to do with relationships, creativity, something going on with kids, and feeling with Mars there, feeling very, very assertive about it. I'm really wanting a relationship to be a certain way, wanting a business to be a certain way, wanting a situation with your children to be a certain way. That's what matters to me. I want it that way. And that's the very thing that you're going to have to lean into, that you may be asked to sacrifice right now. And the energy's been going on for almost, to be exact, 16 and a half months it's been going on. We were feeling it a little before that though. But you've been feeling this push to change because things in some area of your life have not been working out the way that you really, really want. Doesn't mean that gifts haven't been coming in. You haven't been having really good experiences, but a lot of the gifts that have been coming in are wearing different outfits than you would ultimately like them to wear, right? Whether it's, you know, a job, but it's not really the job that you want, or that relationship, but, you know, there's some sort of extenuating circumstances surrounding that. So a lot of you guys could have been experiencing circumstances like this, putting you in a space where you're left wondering, questioning your sense of self in all of it. And, you know, why do these things happen? And not in a woe is me way, but just sort of understanding like this has been a weird run of luck. And I really need to look at these things, right? So we have this idea of cycles, wild inner child, yang, observer, poised. I do like that. Reflect on your truth, live life to the fullest, and bust out of your cocoon. I love the inner child poise and bust out of your cocoon, because I feel like this is like these three together are telling me that you are completely ready to do some fabulous work on yourself. And because we have that Saturn and Jupiter energy in your fourth house, the fourth house is not only having to do with home, but it also has to do with ourselves in private, our private selves. And that fourth house also has to do with understanding how our early childhood environment impacted the way we view ourselves and the way that we end up showing up in the world. And I feel like a lot of you are going to be going through this processing where you're going to be realizing why certain things have happened in your life and why you are where you are right now. Some of you are going to be looking at your first family. Others of you are going to be looking at past relationships. But there's going to be this reflective energy that's going on in that fourth house that's going to be sextile in the second house release. So I actually really like that. I feel like you guys are perfectly poised to really get rid of whatever false narrative has been running in your energy about what you can and cannot do. We have wild, observer, and live life to the fullest. Scorpio, what scares you? Go in that direction. Pay attention though, right? When we get observer, it's pay attention. Don't be silly about it. Don't, you know, just jump into anything. But wild is really about, what do you think you can't do? That's the very direction that you need to go in, because this is really about conquering fears and silencing some sort of false narrative of that it could vary from either I'm not worthy or things never work out for me kind of thing, really at getting yourself away from that. But that's all going to be reflective of looking at the cycles in your life. And then we have yang. Yang is fire, it's heat, it's maleness. The idea of men, and this doesn't matter if you're a male or female Scorpio, it doesn't matter, but the idea of passion. What have you done in the name of passion, right? I'm speaking to a Scorpio. For goodness sake, you guys rule passion, you guys rule sex, right? You guys also rule anxiety and rumination, endings and beginnings, transformation. So while there's a lot of passion, there's so much anxiety in your energy too. There's nothing simple about Scorpio energy, right? Wherever we have it, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot, right? There's a lot. And there's also, you guys are also very steadfast. Like when you really want something, when you feel deep and hard, right? You just do. You guys are fixed water. Like I mentioned in the last week's reading, what do you get when you have fixed water? It's ice, right? It's almost immovable. It's like, no, I want to be in this relationship. I want to be in this job. This is the way I feel, right? Because it's a fixed water sign, right? So but you're going to be looking at how that has served you in your life. Because right now with the Sagittarius, as the energy rises to the top, with the solar eclipse, as we get ready over the next 6 weeks to pass the torch over, to grab the torch over from Sagittarius to you guys, right as the south node of the moon, there's going to be this need to release something having to do with your belief system, because that is what Sagittarius is. Whatever you believe to be your truth, there's going to need to be a release and a different way of looking at things, and you're going to need to reflect on your truth. Like, where you've been feeling really dug in, is it really how you feel, or is maybe the way you feel dug into a fear-based mentality? Or are you afraid of not being able to provide for yourself? Because this is what's very interesting. Having that Sagittarius in the second house, this need to release the way that you have been dealing with providing for yourself, right? And the fact that the North Node is in Gemini in the 8th house, some of you may have been going through a period where somebody external from you has been coming in and helping you out. So whether that's through a relationship, through family, through some sort of external, situation, but understand that the North Node of the moon in Gemini is going to be moving into Taurus. So it's going to be out of that cyclical energy, and it's going to be moving into Taurus, which is in your 7th house. So what I see happening here is you releasing the way you think something needs to be. And I don't feel like this is going to happen. This is not a one and done kind of thing, guys. I don't even think for you, Scorpio, this eclipse is happening, is going to be impacting us all the way through April of 2022. Everybody, Scorpio is going to be different. You guys are going to be feeling this for the next 2 years, and at least 2 years, at least the next 20 months. Okay. You guys are going to be feeling this in the biggest way, where you're going to be doing a lot of changing, right? Now, this is what's interesting. The more independent you become, and the more self-sufficient you become, and the more you release the drama, the anxiety, and the more you become that Taurus grounded energy, the more you're going to end up getting from people. This is going to be like the very thing that's just going to be like a big game changer for you. So where you may feel, you might not even realize you're doing it, right? And that's wherever our Scorpio energy is, we can't really see everything because there's always a lot going on, right? Pluto's there, busy digging up the past, and and the Scorpio energy is always about asking questions and trying to figure everything out, so much so that there can be a hyper focus on the figuring of something out, where there could be this it's very easy to not even recognize what's currently happening around that, that energy, right? And that's a very common manifestation, right, around the Scorpio energy. So I just see a lot of you doing a lot of changing over the next 2 years, and a lot of release, and focusing on becoming a lot more independent in your sense of self, not looking external to you for any sort of And I'm not saying that you guys require that for validation or anything like that, but you're a water sign. So part of what feeds you and fuels you is emotion and relationship. Now, I'm not suggesting you're not going to need that, but you want to make sure that you're not overly relying on somebody having to do with making you feel complete, whole, uh, to pay your bills, to do any of that. This is really an energy. The next few years is really going to be a call for Scorpio to face your fears, find your strength because you are so strong. You are so strong. And figure out exactly what you need to do to feel really good inside your own skin. And there's just going to be a lot of release. A lot of you are going to be looking much different from 2 years from now. You might be losing weight. You might be getting totally new hairstyle, totally revamping a wardrobe, having a whole new vibe about you, right? Which is really exciting to think about. But you're being asked to reflect on your truth and do something differently. So that's what we have for the kind of the laying of the land here. So let's pull for, what do I want to do? Let's use these for a general read. Let's see what we have. Scorpio friends. And one thing that you're going to be asked to release, just keeping in mind, we have the sun is going to be cazimi between the moon and Mercury. So you're going to be feeling very vulnerable inside yourself, and what could end up kicking up because of the other energies that are speaking to this. And I'm going to work those in a moment. But you want to really avoid, right? Because we have that Venus and Pluto energy in Capricorn, which is that earth, that grounded earth energy in the third house of Gemini. You want to make sure that when you're communicating with people, you're not condescending. That because there's gonna be a tendency to be that way, right? And you're not even going to realize it though in the moment. So you want to make sure, because that Pluto in the third house, it would within a 3-degree conjunction of Venus, there could be this energy in your communication that you feel like you need to defend yourself, because Venus is very focused on things being equitable and fair. And that Pluto energy is about endings and beginnings and the need to change something because it feels unfair. So it's very easy to slip into this very condescending tone, condescending space when you're dealing with people, and try your very, very best to catch yourself before doing that, because it's not going to end well for you, right? You just want to be careful of that. Just be careful of that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do like the fact that we have this new moon sextile with Saturn. So that new moon again is in your second house, and Saturn is in your fourth house. And I think what's good here is whatever you're releasing, it's going to ultimately end up, whatever you're changing in that second house, changing your mindset with work, it's going to help you to feel a lot more secure. Fourth house has to do with your security as well, right? Second house, fourth house has to do with your security. So you're going to end up feeling more secure, more grounded, right, in your home. I do like this energy. It gives a lot of caution. It gives a lot of patience, perseverance. This is inciting a very strong work ethic as well, right? That Saturn energy. So this is a really good eclipse to meet your goals, complete any sort of serious or difficult tasks that you have at hand, having to do with what matters to you. And this is really more about what matters to you personally, Scorpio, not so much relationship, not so much, unless you live with your partner and there have been some challenges on the home front. This is going to end up arming you with a lot more patience and a lot more energy to actually deal with something. And that's actually going to earn you the trust and respect of other people in your household, which is really, really nice as well. So that's very nice as well. I also feel like if you're starting any sort of new job, but it's tough. Scorpio energy is tough, right? You have Chiron in Aries in that sixth house for your day-to-day work environment. So you might be experiencing a lot of like challenge and a lot of pain. I feel like especially through the end of December, because Chiron's been retrograde. So, in that sixth house. So some of you may have been dealing with some health issues, right? Because Chiron is the wounded warrior. So dealing with some sort of health issues. There's going to be a lot of introspective energy focused on your health, mental, physical, emotional, focus on what you need to feel grounded and secure. All of this is going to be very focused on it. And while Chiron is retrograde, it's very hard to move forward in that energy, but he does come out of retrograde the end of December. And then Venus is going to be retrograde in Capricorn in that third house from the middle of December for 40 days and 40 nights, right until the end of February. So having to do with communication, there can be stagnation in general communication throughout your life through the end of January. It lifts then, and then Venus loves being in Capricorn. Capricorn loves being near Venus like that. It's a beautiful energy, and it's going to be hanging there until March 6th. So if you're feeling stagnation or things just not moving forward in the way that you would really like, having to do with some sort of situation, having to do with communicating with important people in your life, something you have going on with a situation with siblings, or maybe you're in some sort of learning situation where you're taking like a webinar, a seminar, or short-term class. That's very third house, not college. That's ninth house. Third house is more like, you know, you're learning a skill set. So you might be very dug in and studying and really trying to get in front of it. And that's a really good energy to learn in, actually. I love that for you if you guys are in that space. So let's pull the cards and take a look here. What we have starting out at the Five of Pentacles, we have the King of Wands in reverse. We have the Seven of Swords, and we have the Two of Swords. Okay. We have the Ten of Wands. So, you know, the Five of Pentacles really is about feeling the sense of lack, you know, and I said this in one of my readings last week. There was like, it's not feeling a sense of lack, it's having a sense of lack. Okay, so for some of you, you don't have what it is that you want, right? But it really is a testing of your resources. You at least feeling that, right? Obviously financial issues, or fear of financial issues if you're not actually having them. Maybe you have money, but you're afraid that it's not going to be lasting, or you're not feeling very secure in whatever it is that you're doing. So you're going to be in this space where you're going to be considering new options that are going to help you to see your way forward. So that new option could be, if it's not a new job, maybe acquiring a new skill set, or, you know, mastering something a little more specifically, and that being the answer, right? If it doesn't have to do with that, this can show some of you may just straight up being afraid of losing the security of your home, or you may be dealing with the aftermath of a breakup, or the aftermath of somebody passing away. You know, these are all the things that the Five of Pentacles can mean. This is a general message, so I want to give you as many messages, and you take what resonates. Now, this is being surrounded by the King of Wands and the Ten of Wands. So let's talk about the Ten of Wands first. Is the energy of overwhelm, responsibilities, burden, overloaded demands, you know, could be that. If this has to do with a relationship, your relationship might be neglected right now because of other things going on in your life or their life, but there is this sense of lack. So if you guys aren't seeing each other enough, that could do crazy things to the mind of a Scorpio when it comes to like suspicion, right? And what's really going on, and what, you know, how do they really feel, right? So, but it just is this element of disconnect, right? And the sense of lack. Now, it's also working with the King of Wands in reverse. Now, this is an energy of not being ready yet to do something. So you may be dealing with an energy who's just not ready for the kind of relationship that you guys have. That's going to resonate with some of you. Others of you are dealing with a straight up bully. Somebody who's a bully. Could be that. Others of you are dealing with somebody who's having some sort of sexual problem. There's some sort of sexual dysfunction, you know, so it depends on, you know, other things that are going on in your chart, but these are all of the things that this could mean, where there ends up being this experience of the sense of lack. But typically it's because the person who is experiencing the sexual dysfunction does not want to recognize it. And, you know, there's one thing to say, okay, you know, look, this happens all the time, right? Forget it, right? People have these things all the time. So, okay, it's one thing to have the issue. It's another thing to have the issue and then act like it's not there, or maybe them blaming you, or, you know, them blaming it on, like, I don't know, something else, rather than getting help, right? So that could be a little bit of a challenge. Now, this could also be player energy. Obviously, the King of Wands in reverse could be player energy. And this is working with the Seven of Swords. Now, Seven of Swords can indicate somebody who, this indicates thievery for some of you. Dishonesty, selfishness, overstepping boundaries, selfish. And you being in a space where you're going to need those Scorpio instincts and wits to figure out the real truth of a situation, where you might even need to play them at their own game to find out what it is that you need to know. But whatever's going on here, there's something that you don't trust. You're feeling a sense of lack and you're not trusting something, and it's putting you in an emotional stalemate. Now, let's talk about what this means, and we're going to swoop it back around, because this could be for a relationship, job, a family situation. Something shady is going on in town, and you're honestly, your Scorpio instincts are on fire here. But the Two of Swords definitely means being in an emotional stalemate, and you have to make a decision. You want to protect yourself, but there's no question that whatever situation you're embroiled in here, it's not going to just go away, right? You can't think it away. So you're better off resolving it now. Stand your ground, say what you think, because a decision is needed, because your future is going to depend on this. But it may be kind of uncomfortable. Now, the Seven of Swords is, because it's a moon in Aquarius energy, there could be some mask wearing energy as well. And how this can manifest is, let me give you an example. Let's say you're involved in something and you feel the sense of lack. It doesn't mean that you're not happy with the person. Maybe you may be happy with the relationship, but you're not feeling as connected as you would like, or things aren't working out the way that you would ultimately like. And really, it's because this person is really not ready for this kind of relationship with you, but they're not being honest with you about it, where they're wearing the mask. Right? The Seven of Swords could be, again, moon in Aquarius. Moon is emotions. Aquarius is different than what I'm showing you. So they may be showing you a face when they're with you that, oh, they're so ready. But at the end of the day, you intuitively know that they're really not. And this is putting you in a space where you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I am feeling at a very deep stalemate here. I don't know how I feel, because this here is a moon in Libra. So your emotions are very sort of indecisive right now, because you're feeling that your emotional needs aren't being met the way that you would ultimately like, or there's a lack of fairness, there's a lack of honesty and transparency here, and you're feeling it. You don't want to feel it. You want to feel optimistic about it, but you're having a really hard time not looking at the facts of the situation. Now, in the same way, this could absolutely have to do with something with work. If you're in business with somebody, or somebody is offering you some sort of opportunity, but they're not seemingly not having a lot of follow through. So you're like, should I even bother with this thing anymore? Should I just move on in another direction? Now we have the Five of Pentacles working with the Ten of Wands, again, the energy of overwhelm. And then that's working with the Four of Swords. Very healthy energy. I like the Four of Swords because this is recognized as the Jupiter and Leo energy. So Jupiter is all about truth, right? And in Leo has to do with the joy. So you're being very honest with yourself about your happiness and lack thereof, or where something feels like you have your shoes on the wrong feet, right? So the Four of Swords is taking this step out for perspective, right? And really looking at yourself, looking at the situation as honestly as you can to figure out a better strategy for moving forward regarding this particular situation. So if you're dealing with somebody who's not ready, right, and this King of Wands energy reverse, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to move forward? Now that's being clarified by the Fool. So absolutely something new. This is Uranus energy. So the Fool, for some of you, the Fool is going to be, you're making a decision to leave that relationship, to leave that job. You're making a decision to move on to something else, because this is not what it is that you want. It's like your instincts are leading you to a beginning on a different path for many of you. That's how many of you are going to be feeling it. Others of you are like, no way, no how. I'm not leaving. I want to stay in this, but I just want things to be different moving forward. And this is the thing. You may have a Knight of Cups energy coming in and saying, absolutely, things are going to be much different in the future. I promise you that. But see, this is still connected to the Seven of Swords energy. So this promise for things to be different moving into the future, and this offer can be a bunch of BS. But the thing is this, you're going to be vibing it in the Two of Swords energy. So it really has to be a thing where, now I don't want to make you guys paranoid, right? That's not what I'm looking to do. So if you're in some sort of family, work, relationship situation where you feel like somebody's promising a lot, but there's not a lot of pragmatic follow through, stop for a second and say, okay, I'm not going to think negatively about this. I'm going to try to be glass half full. But if I don't see actions following the words, then I know they're full of shit and I'm going to call them on it. But be careful with how you call them on it, because you do have Venus conjunct Pluto in that third house. So you don't want your communication style to come off so attacking that you end up putting somebody back on their heels. You just want to be careful of that, okay? So we have the Hierophant reversed. Now, the Hierophant reverse could absolutely be like a little bit of a, I'm just going to say, morally compromised energy, or you being misled by somebody who's morally compromised, right? Not getting good advice, right? You might be getting very poor advice. You might be dealing with a person who's super self-interested, where you're way better off tapping into your own intuition and walking your own path. And I know you guys are fixed water and you're typically very good at doing that, but you are water after all, and you are very sensitive. Underneath it all, you are very sensitive. And so if you deeply desire and want something to be a certain way, it's very easy for you to want to believe what is being said. But the Hierophant, remember, is about, and it's not only marriage, an important relationship, but it's also expectations and the need to conform to something, right? So I have to tell you, like, if somebody, the 10 of Wands can indicate like an ending, needing to put it down, right? And saying like this idea of ending with the Hierophant reverse. If somebody is suggesting that they're going to end their marriage, you want to make sure that they do that and not just say the words, okay? Some of you may be involved with somebody who's married, because there is a sense of lack and this energy of overwhelm. But it's like, okay, then leave your marriage already. If you don't want to be in it, then leave it. Others of you are looking at your own marriage and just saying, I don't know what happened to my partner, but they are off the beaten path and they're doing immoral things. You might even be in a space where, you're sort of flirting with that as well. And but all in the name of trying to make yourself feel better about something. But we have this being clarified by the Page of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the Ace of Wands. We have a lot of wand energy here, which is passion, which is motivation. And so the Page of Wands can indicate, it indicates several things. First of all, this is a very strong desire to express yourself. This can be some of you, but that's if it's you, right? You feeling the need to absolutely express yourself. In the Queen of Wands energy, this is about stepping into your power, knowing what's needed to make the relationship work. I'm going to swoop around and go back to career, but needing to make a relationship work. And for many of you, the Ace of Wands is a brand new beginning. So this could be a new chapter of passion, creativity, motivation, right? Having to do with relationship. This could be like starting a family, but in the same way, if there's somebody who's not conforming and willing to work something out, if they're not willing to end their marriage, this could be you ending your marriage, stepping in a different direction, meeting somebody new to get yourself into something healthy and out of something that's not serving you anymore, to get away from any sort of lip service, selfish energy, and you really going and meeting somebody new here. That's how it's going to be for some of you in relationship. Sticking with the relationship theme real quick, we have this this recognition, right, that something is not going well. Again, the Hierophant energy could be the ending of a marriage, the feeling of overwhelm, ending of a marriage, feeling the sense of disconnect. And then this new beginning and going in this new positive way with a partner. So for those of you who are with somebody who's not married yet, there is going to be this sort of, I hate to say it, but you're going to be presenting them with an ultimatum. And some of you are going to be, and you're going to be very forceful in this ultimatum. But ultimately, what can end up happening here is you guys have this beautiful new beginning. But it depends on where they're at here, right? In this marriage. Now, connecting this to any sort of business or financial situation, this sense of lack is overwhelming you. And you're just trying to figure out a different way of moving forward into the future. This Knight of Cups energy can indicate a new offer, but you might be of two minds about it. Like, you're not sure if you want to do it. You may not, you may be in that space, but that's not going to serve you really well, though. You want to see if you are not, why is it that you wouldn't want to get involved in this offer? Because some of you may be feeling like the person's a little morally corrupt. You're not in alignment with their whole energy, their whole vibe. And you know damn well that you're not going to be happy in that. So you're going in a different direction. But this is what tells me, the Page of Wands tells me, is that there could be good news about either a project or a job or anything that requires negotiation. This could also indicate a busy time at work, or for those of you not working right now, this can bring a new offer in. But while the status or the glitz and glam of the job might not be exactly what you'd like or expect, it's still going to appeal to you in theory. So you just want to make sure you read the fine print, right? But that is going to allow you just enough energy to absolutely step into your power. So I really like this energy for you to start something new. And the thing is this, you're not going to realize how good this is going to be for you initially. Initially, you're not. You may not realize for like the first month and a half, and then you're going to realize, wow, this is fabulous. This is so great. I'm able to be creative. I'm able to put my own spin on something, and you're going to end up really being very happy with it. So I really like that. I think that the area of work where you're releasing, where you've been very dug in as far as how you make money, you're going to be forced to make changes there, and that's going to end up bringing you a huge gift on the other side. Some of you who are involved in a relationship, though, where they're not maybe, maybe they're kind of like just not divorced legally. You know what I'm saying? Like where they are really not in the marriage, that kind of thing. But you might be presented with this Page of Wands, finally Hierophant reverse. You may be presented with the situation by a partner where it's like, look, this is all I can give you right now in the relationship. And it's still appealing to you. You're still wanting to be with this person, even though it's not really ultimately what it is that you want. You being willing to sort of stick it out in that way. Totally up to you. No judgment ever on this channel. I just read the cards and I give you the astrology. I'm more like the looking glass through it all, right? So that is what I'm seeing for some of you. And, I will always say, though, because we have this release that's very necessary in your belief system having to do with the second house of self, that's the second house of self-esteem and what it is that you value. You want to make sure that you're not releasing your value system to a degree where you're sacrificing your happiness over the long term just in order to make something work with another individual. That's all I'm saying. You want to just be careful of that, because that can also end up happening with that Sagittarius in the second house, and that Saturn squaring Uranus, right? That Saturn energy that's sitting in your fourth house, squaring Uranus in your seventh house. There's going to be a lot of unexpected setbacks and restricted change when it comes to your relationships. And this can bring change that you really don't want, or it also makes it harder to make the kind of changes that you do want in relationship. So it's going to be very frustrating, a very tense time, but if you stay open-minded and patient and really flexible, what at first seems like a challenge can absolutely turn into an opportunity to rid yourself of any sort of negative, restrictive, limiting situation that's going on within the dynamic of this relationship. But there's going to be a lot of shakeup in relationships for you, lots of tension there. Okay, so it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so let's pull for those of you in complicated relationship. Queen of Cups being challenged by the Lover's energy. Okay. All right, so excuse me, coming into this energy, those of you in a complicated relationship, so there is another person, you're not single, we're going to pull for those in separation and then those are single and separate spreads here. So there's a person here, it's very complicated. We have the Five of Cups coming into this energy, and the Five of Cups can feel very much like sadness, loss, leaving, something ending before you felt really ready for it. This element of focusing on what's focusing on the hurt, the pain of a situation, and not recognizing the two cups that are still standing behind it. So now this could be literally like leaving or ending or something. It could also be a focus on the sense of lack in a situation, like something can't be a certain way for whatever reason. Somebody's not emotionally available, somebody doesn't live nearby. There could be a whole host of reasons why that is, but it's focusing on the lack, right? Because here you are all lovey-dovey, right, with your Queen of Cups energy. This is a very loving energy, very loving, very giving. You're all about just making the world a better place, Scorpio. It's a very loving energy. This is also very intuitive, a very emotionally intelligent energy, not afraid of intimacy, right? Not afraid of recognizing what it takes in order to make something work, right? And being all about deepening a connection and emotional honesty. You're all about it, right? Is this in astrology? This is Gemini and Cancer. And so Gemini is about communication. And Cancer is about feeling grounded, rooted, safe, and secure. It has to do with home. It has to do with is feeling secure and safe in something. And you communicating what you need in order to feel safe in something because you're feeling the sense of lack here, right? Coming into this energy. Now let's look at what is challenging you. So the Lovers is a challenge to you right now. Let's keep in mind here. Love, first of all, this is Gemini energy, okay? But in numerology, this is the devil as well. So the devil can indicate any sort of imbalance, and the fact that this is showing up as your challenge, this does indicate imbalance as well, right? Nobody's on the same exact page, and the shadow aspects of personalities can show up as an issue. You might be questioning what drew you into this relationship in the first place. Either you feel betrayed or you feel like you no longer share the same values and morals, and you guys are on the same page having to do with something. So some of you may be in that space because this is the challenge. It's like, what is the Lover's energy? It's about exercising the choice of recognizing, okay, we have issues, but we have the choice to fix them and to be on the same page and to balance it out. So because the Lovers also is connected to the devil energy again is any kind of imbalance that could have to do with any sort of addiction. Is at play here some sort of affair, right? Where there's some sort of like secret love affair going on. Any kind of anxiety, depression, unchecked, untreated, anything like that. Anything that can create imbalance that's not being addressed to sort of throw things off in the relationship. So we have the basis of the situation working with the King of Swords energy here. Move those up there. King of Swords energy here. So the Six of Cups has to do, basis speaking to the King of Swords, feeling very nostalgic, feeling the desire for harmony. This speaks to the past and reconciling the past. For some of you, this is going to be a reconciliation, but there is this attempt to find the right balance in a relationship. This is the basis of the situation that you would like to do, right? Working with the King of Swords. The King of Swords is all about focusing on your mind instead of your heart to take charge of the circumstances. And what are you thinking about? You're thinking about any mistreatment that you have suffered, that maybe you put upon your partner, whatever it is, and figuring out a way to remedy the situation, okay? trying to stick with the facts of the situation. Do you know what I'm saying? Like all swords of truth, it's there, right? Now, what is the recommended approach and what are you being told to look at? You're being told to look at the Ace of Wands energy. You're being asked to look at delays. Is there a delay in this relationship? Why? False starts. Why? Rejection. Why? Where has somebody maybe been almost brutal? Where has this felt brutal to you, even if the person has been very kind, but where your experience in one way or another has almost been very brutal on your soul, where maybe there's an overwhelming sense of frustration or jealousy or something like that, some sort of anxiety surrounding this relationship. You're being asked to look at that because there's some truth in that as to what, how things are going to be rolling out. Now, we have this person external to you is showing up as the 10 of Pentacles. Now, the 10 of Pentacles does indicate family. This is a marriage card. So some of you, again, I mentioned maybe dealing with somebody who is literally married, right? They have children, they have a life with this other person, and they're all about it though. They're all about, like, they share property with somebody, they share children, they have the shared commitment and all of that. That's how it's going to manifest for many of you. For others of you, this could be you dealing with somebody who is not married, but they want to marry you and they want to have this growth with you, this family, this deepening of commitment. But you, in your personal psychology, you're feeling the sense of lack. 5 of Pentacles, it really is about feeling this, something's missing, not feeling very supported. You have more support than you realize, but but you're not feeling it. It's not in the way that you would ultimately like. It's really not, and so moving into the near future. Now, for some of you, also, let's just address the fact that Pentacles obviously also means money. Some of you may be experiencing a period in your life where you feel like your resources are very tested. You might be experiencing some real financial issues where, I don't know, just because of the virus and stuff, maybe you haven't been able to land a job or things have been really challenging for you. And this could be a challenge for you because maybe this person is helping you out financially, right? Because remember, I mentioned that North Node in the 8th, that could indicate you getting money or resources or something from someone. And that could be your psychological block where you realize something doesn't feel right to you. You know that, right? You're very smart, but you're also like, yeah, but I kind of need them right now in order to just sort of make ends meet until I can get on my feet, kind of thing, right? And there's no shame in that, right? But it's just like that could be what this is manifesting for some of you as. So we have in the near future the Hermit energy. So very much being in a problem-solving state, And the thing is, if you're alone right now, like maybe you guys are in a complicated space, maybe you don't see each other a lot, or maybe you're in separation. So if you're alone, right, you really have to think about, is this the right thing for you? And this is a call for you to work on yourself, because this is an energy of healing, self-exploration, going within. This is a call for a quest for your own personal truth and a lot of analysis about you in relationship, right? And what all of that means for you. So definitely a time to work on yourself. And a lot of you are going to be thinking about your past experiences so that mistakes aren't repeated in the future. Absolutely. Now, you are, though, still connected with this energy. So several truths can be going on at once. You can be feeling all of those things. But at the same time, you're realizing that if this relationship has any chance of really working in the long term, it's time to invest a lot more energy, a lot more time, and a lot more focus to work on smoothing over any issues that need addressing in a very solid way in order for you guys to be able to move forward in a very solid way. Now, the final outcome card is the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles, very auspicious energy, right? Some of you may be like, all right, look, I'm staying with this person because I need the money. And the Hermit energy is you're going in and you're doing a lot of self-analysis and you're saying, you know what, I'm just going to go get a new job. Ace of Pentacles, new job. And I'm actually going to take care of myself and I'm going to extricate myself from this unhealthy situation. This could certainly be it for many of you. For others of you, the Pentacle energy is not only about money, it's also mental, physical, and emotional connection. So for a lot of you, this is a very happy and content energy. You know, things coming to you, you achieving what it is that you want for a foundation of stability through the connection. But I feel like because it's following the Hermit energy, you're realizing what's necessary for this next stage. So, and you're not playing anymore. You're going to be happy, damn it, if it's the last thing that you do. And it's that kind of energy, being very focused on a new start and figuring out a way to very problem solving energy through deep analysis. So if somebody's not on the same page as you, let's see what the other energies say. Let's get some clarifiers here. Yeah. All right, let me pull. Okay, we come. Okay, so remembering that this is only for the beginning of December, though, I feel like you guys are going to be in this emotional stalemate, right? It's this, you're not sure how you feel. This is a Moon and Libra energy, you know, but you want to protect yourself. Again, say what you feel. You have to get it out, get it out. Say what you think, say what you feel, get it out. Decision needs to be made, you know. And the thing is that you're not even going to be confused, though, about what it is that you need. The confusion is going to be in, can this person give you ultimately what it is that you really, your soul needs? Because you're going to be separating the two, what you need, you know, in a practical way and what you need emotionally, right? Then we have the Chariot energy. So the Chariot, let me pull a clarifier on the Chariot is a very expedited energy when it comes to relationship. Ten of Swords. Yeah. We always have to pull a clarifier. Those of you learning tarot should always pull a clarifier with the Chariot energy, because it really does depend on what follows that. That will let you know if you're moving away from toxicity or if you're moving towards toxicity, right? And that is the Chariot energy, though, is always about this situation being expedited. And if that following a card was positive, then you were moving away from negative towards positive. If it ends up being negative, then the relationship is likely ending because it's ultimately not good for you. And we have this followed by this, the Ten of Swords, which is, you know, an ending of something where there was a history here. And it's the final release of something that is, even though it could be really painful, it's going to release you from a frustration and a stress. Where it's the end of a really challenging time period. So now you're going to be able to transform into a healthier energy with fresh eyes and a new mindset, you know? So I feel like a lot of you, it's just like, no, look, I can't do it like that anymore. I really need to step into my power because I know it's necessary to energize this relationship. And a lot of you are going to be just moving on to meet somebody else. I'm keeping it real, because the Emperor really is about meeting somebody who's very aligned with your belief system and what it is that you need. Now, for those of you who are dealing with an energy who's like, all right, wait a minute. All right, I want to figure this out with you. Let's sit down and talk in a very pragmatic way about how things can be moving into the future. All right, so let's stick with that for a second. Okay, let's sit down and talk about that, right? Because there's been some sort of full lesson learned from the past, right? And someone comes back. But when they come back, this energy is still existing, the Seven of Cups energy, confusion, choices, commitment issues, not sure what's real, what's not. And you feel like you're at the beginning stages of something. Some of you may feel like you're at the beginning stages of the end, the beginning stages of something else. But what you are absolutely doing is you're assessing and evaluating this relationship in a very clear way and shifting it into a new phase. Now, for some of you, there may be a need for reconciliation if you deem the relationship worthwhile. But some of you might be just, you know, spiritually waking up to the reality of the relationship, reconciling the reality, you know, and making a decision about what it is that you should do. while we're in that judgment energy, obviously there's a lot of thought going on. And so because it's being clarified by the Knight of Pentacles, you may be realizing that while somebody brings a lot to the table, they have a lot to offer. At the end of the day, they may be very slow in a certain way, like maybe they're not making the changes that they promised, or maybe they're a little boring, or they're not on the same page as you, or they're not willing to be in the relationship in the way that you feel like is necessary. Now, it depends on what you're looking for, because this person can be your rock, even though there's a lot of lack in what it is that they could bring you. So it depends on what you're looking for. But, you know, if you're talking about like keeping you captured, your heart captured for the long term with what they're willing to give you now, that could be a challenge. But again, it depends on where you're at. You know, you might have some sort of alternative arrangement that works well for you. And you're like, look, it works fine for me, right? Some of you may be in that space, but there is going to be this identification of something missing, something missing. You want to be careful of staying in something at the expense of your heart. And I'm only saying that because we have this final clarifier as the Three of Wands, which is an energy of not having a lot of foresight. This could indicate delays, setbacks, but not a lot of foresight. So, you know, this could absolutely be like, okay, look, you know, maybe they're not perfect. They're not really what I want ultimately for the long term, but I'm just going to hang with them for now. But you're not exercising a lot of foresight in the long term. So that may be something that you're going to need to get in front of. This is just for the beginning of December. This may be something that you need to get in front of for those of you who are going to be kind of, you know, working this out. For those of you who are making the choice to leave and really step into your power and meet somebody else, it's reflective of you having learned these past experiences, you having a lot of choices. And as you step into this next choice or this next relationship, you're thinking about your past and what you've learned there. Now, many of you may be meeting somebody new, but feel rather underwhelmed by this person, you know, just saying. And there could be a lot of delays in feeling really peaceful and settled in the area of relationship right now, for those of you who are in a complicated situation. So I'm sorry to give you that news. I am, you know, that is what I'm getting. So that must be resonating with somebody, because some am I reading? But this is the thing. I don't know if this makes sense, Scorpio. I feel like the underpinning of all of this is going to be you really looking at your security and what matters to you. And some of you may be able to, just for the time period, convince yourself that this is the right relationship for you because you're not ready to move on. And that's okay. That's okay too. Judgments here, you know? Judgments. Do when you're ready. No sense in biting your nose off to spite your face. You know what I'm saying? So what's the point to that? You might have to move yourself into an area where you're like, all right, look, this isn't ideal. I'm really not happy about a lot of the circumstances here, but I'm not ready to shift out of it yet. Let me get A, B, and C in a row before I do that. If you're feeling that way, if you're really feeling what just showed up in the reading, where this, you might have a lot of emotions and love for this person, but there's something really big that's missing, and you're going to move into a space where you're just not going to be willing to compromise your happiness anymore. You're just not. I mean, there is going to be so much karma and so much destiny swimming in your first house of self for the next 2 years. My goodness, my goodness. Okay, so let's throw down for those of you who are let's say single. Let's do singles right now, okay, before separation. Queen of Pentacles, very nice. Taking care of your body, taking care of your finances, taking care of yourself right now, right? This is who you're about, right? And you're also living in your truth. This is Sagittarius and Capricorn energy. So Sagittarius, belief system, Capricorn, long-term goals. So you don't want to play anymore. You don't want to just date. You don't want to just do any of that. Like, you're in a more serious mindset here. We have the Hermit energy, right? So you're thinking about all the past relationships, the common denominator and all of those cycles. And you're really figuring out what it is that's necessary for you in a relationship. You're very focused on your belief system, on your moral code, on your moral compass. Absolutely beautiful. We have an Ace of Pentacle energy. So this is a very beautiful energy that brings a foundation of stability. So a mental, physical, emotional connection that's going to bring stability for you. So you might even just be connecting with somebody online. You might be meeting somebody through some sort of cause. So maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe, what's a cause that I'm always involved in? You're in some sort of fundraiser for autism. You know what I mean? And you meet somebody there where you start out as friends and then it evolves into something new. But this is like brand new, and there's going to be a lot of value in this connection. It could start off slow though, because it's Earth. There's a slow element to this. So you could start off as friends. Nothing wrong with that. Chariot energy. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's just clarify here. Okay, so this is funny. We have these two king energies here. So we have the King of Pentacles and the King of Cups. So there is this need to settle a conflict within yourself because somebody really wants to have a relationship with you, but you're going to be in this space where you're not sure how you feel. At the same time, you're meeting this King of Pentacles energy, which could be really solid, and they want to be in a settled relationship, and you're liking all of that. But there is an element of greed to the King of Pentacle energy. This could be somebody who could be a little funny with their money, or they might be totally generous with their money, but they're not willing to change something about themselves, about their life. And that puts you in a state of confliction where you're like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I have to really figure out how I feel about this, right? We have the Three of Swords, which can be, disappointment, because there's you have certain expectations when it comes to a relationship. So if somebody's not willing to show up, like they might bring a lot to the table, but there might be a major sticking point, like, oh, hey, maybe they're married, or maybe they're not married, but maybe they have a baby on the way with somebody else and you're feeling really uncomfortable about that, or they have money, but they're really stingy with it, right? It can manifest in any of those ways, but it has this speaking to this idea of, because it's the High Priest is a marriage card. That's why I brought up the marriage idea, but also expectations and what you expect in relationship. So you meeting somebody, but it ended up not going very well. But this is the thing. I feel like you're not even going to sweat it. I don't even feel like you're going to sweat, because you're very focused on doing the right thing. And you're going to just look at this energy and go, wow, you're kind of messy. And where that might have attracted you at one point, you're not going to be into it right now. You're not, because the energies are starting to change. And this is the thing. Wherever, because this is the South Node is going to be in your energy in your first house of self for the first 2 years. Wherever a Scorpio energy is, we're going to be pushed to release the drama, and we're going to be pushed to become more grounded. So you're going to naturally be pushed, Scorpio, whatever relationship, friendship, family connection, business situations, anything, wherever there's a lot of drama attached to, you're not going to win any part of it. You're really not. And if you do get yourself embroiled and stuff like that, it's going to end up being very painful for you. So I feel like you're just going to be handling relationships from a way smarter perspective moving forward. I feel like a lot of you have already entered into that space. Let's pull for those of you who are in separation. We're using the Twin Flame and Separation oracles. We'll pull a couple of Iron Time Wellness and a few tarot for clarifiers. There's so much unspoken between us. I need to tell you how I really feel. Everywhere I go, I look around as if you'll magically be there. I'm working on myself so I can give you the love and relationship that you deserve. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of unconditional love here. You guys are obviously in separation. There's a lot of missing, thinking about you, unsure of the future, working on themselves. They could give you the love and relationship you deserve. There's a lot of passion here, lots of chemistry, liking each other equally, having fun. Wow. Okay. A lot of emotion here, Scorpio, in separation. Mhm. King of Cups, settling a conflict within themselves as well as with you. Ten of Wands, recognizing that being in separation with you is not something that they want to continue. They want to get together with you and actually work on stuff. Because you're in separation now. If this was while you were in the relationship, I'd say, oh, they're ready to sort of, they feel very overwhelmed and very burdened by the relationship, but you guys are in separation and they're feeling very burdened by it. Ace of Wands, wow, beautiful. New chapter of passion, motivation. This is a beautiful energy to make babies, to get married, to come together and just figure it out. No matter how old you are, whatever you're doing, figuring it out. I love this. So those of you in separation, it looks good. It does look good. So a lot better than the, the other Scorpio relationship energy. So anyway, my friends, that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. You guys have a beautiful week. Happy solar eclipsing. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Have a beautiful week.